What's going on, Failroaders? I'm Joshua Thomas, and I am here to talk to you about all the theories. But there's one thing I want to talk about first. It's this thing that I want to ask you guys. After, you know, Rebirth is coming out on February 29th, and after I played Final Fantasy 16, I streamed. I didn't stream it live, but I recorded my first playthrough of that, and I just wanted to know if you guys watched it. If you guys felt that it was a good quality, because I'm considering not playing the the Rebirth on stream or recording my first playthrough of it, and I want to get y'all's opinion on what if I only recorded the main story elements and like did the side stuff off screen, because my big worry here is that Final Fantasy 16 took me almost 6 months to play through, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to prove to be many more hours of entertainment than 16 was. So that could end up taking me well over like 8 months possibly to do that, and I'd really like to I want to enjoy it, and I want to be able to get it done within a couple of months, but at the same time still get you guys some content on it. So let me know what you guys think, either in the live chat. I see we got a couple of viewers, so welcome, but also let me know in a comment below if you're watching this after the live stream is over with. But yeah, get my throat cleared there. Also, we'll get on to some theories after a word from this music box. Has absolutely nothing to do with Final Fantasy VII, but I just had to play that. It's a little music box that my wife got me because she knows I'm also a big Star Wars fan. But yeah. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that. If you would want to see me try to do an entire playthrough, which I would absolutely have to just bust through it, or if you're okay with me doing the side content on the side. That way, I can really focus in and do a good job on the main story elements while still giving you guys a blind playthrough of it for me. So theory crafting, I have notes somewhere around here. I wrote down as many theories as I could, and I know the biggest theory that is out right now is this world of the living and world of death, so to speak. And of course, we're talking about Zack's timeline, this Terrier verse that has been created at the end of Remake. And it's this land of, Zack represents the land of the dead, and your party with Cloud and the others represents the land of the living. And it's, of course, it's like, hey, the people in this one are dead and the people in this one are all alive. But, and there's a lot of buts in there. Hey, Daniel Prott. Hi, Josh agreed. Take your time to enjoy the game and share only the main reactions with us. Cool, man. Thank you. I am definitely considering doing that. Like, I'm beginning to think that might be the only way I could possibly get a blind playthrough of it. But yeah, for this land of world of the living and world of the dead thing, I'm having trouble accepting it fully, because the more you think about it, the more holes in this plot that there are. For instance, there are some people who are dead in both of these realms or both of these universes, and there are people who are living in both of them. And then the two big characters are Cloud and Aerith, because Cloud and Aerith are in what we could consider a comatose state in Zack's timeline, and they're alive and well in the other one. And the theory goes that, when Sephiroth, oh, by the way, spoilers for everything Final Fantasy in this live stream. Yeah, if you guys have watched mine before, you know that we're going to dive deep into some lore here and definitely into some twists and turns. But then, of course, what I was about to talk about right there, in case you guys want to turn away, this is the spoiler. When Sephiroth kills Aerith in the Forgotten Capital, that she's going to wake up in Zack's timeline. And sure, there are some hints that this could happen, and of course, why are they going to show Aerith unconscious in this timeline while they have shown, that first big trailer that we got with all the Avalanche members, including Red 13 and Aerith, apparently dead, being carted away in helicopters. Why would they show so much emphasis on this and then showing her unconscious in bed with Zack looking over her and an unconscious Cloud, or I should say Mako poisoned Cloud, sitting on a chair in the background? So, once again, the theory, she dies over here, wakes up over there, and then, of course, Marlene really helps to support that theory by saying when she wakes up, a scary man is going to kill her. Now, I can accept parts of this theory. I don't think that we're dealing with a land of the dead here. And that's once again because of the inconsistencies in that Jesse is apparently dead in both timelines, and other people, lots of other people, like Marlene, Kyrie, Elmira, and who knows who else is alive in both worlds. We haven't seen anything from the Shinra or the bad guys in terms of Zack's timeline, but without having seen that they're dead, we can assume that they're also alive, because shouldn't Zack also have some antagonists, some villains to have to deal with? And I that's the part where it just all falls apart for me. So I don't think that we're dealing with a land of the dead, in that everyone who is in Zack's world is in some kind of dead world or purgatory or something like that. I think what we're dealing with here could either be a pocket dimension, like some people are theorizing. How far out it goes, I don't know if it is a pocket dimension. A lot of people are saying that it's Midgar only, but of course, at the end of Rebirth, we see Zack, go into it. He's walking towards it from the outside. So how far beyond the walls of Midgar does this pocket dimension extend? It seems just as likely that it could be an entire world. Just another dimension with a whole nother Gaia, with all of its cities and all of its people right there, except for a few minor differences, such as the members of Avalanche being dead. It's also interesting because there's this huge question of, if Cloud is with Zack during this time, then how does Aerith meet up with the members of Avalanche? It definitely hasn't been explained. There's these Game Informer articles coming out, but while they give us little juicy tidbits and little words of wisdom from the developers, they really haven't given us too much new to talk about. And of course, I think we're at that point where I don't think the developers want to give us any more information than they already have, unless it's in the form of another trailer. And I could absolutely see one more trailer dropping before Rebirth comes out on February 29th. We're just under 2 months away from its release date, which is exciting. Also, the first weekend in February, I'm going to get to go for the first time to the Distant Worlds concert. So I'm definitely looking for that. looking forward to that. And I part of me wants to like get some kind of teaser at the concert, but I don't think that'll happen because I don't think that's the last concert before its release date. I think there are some concerts elsewhere, but I would love to hear the freaking theme song of Rebirth at the concert. It would be amazing if they did that, and if the singer, God, I can't remember her name, but if she came out and was there too, that would just make my day. That would make my day right there. Because every time I hear the Rebirth theme song, man, I love it. And speaking of that Rebirth trailer as well, this theme song announcement trailer, I'll switch over and let you guys see it. I had some trouble getting these videos to play while OBS was running, so we'll see how this goes. We'll see if this works. Ugh.
I'm feeling every single bullet.
Feeling every single bullet. Love it.
Their ire manifests once more. Do not underestimate this foe.
Your foe?
Sephiroth.
What am I supposed to do? Their luck runs out, but mine
Biggs,
doesn't.
of course, is alive
I'm the
too.
only one who gets a pass.
Everybody else is dead.
Sometimes
Wedge is questionable
I
though.
don't even know who I am. I forget things everyone else remembers just fine. And know things I've got no right knowing.
This is the juiciest trailer, by the way.
You saved me before. Now it's my turn.
Is it you, or is it the pooch? I'm just messing with you. That there is our man.
When fate sets us a challenge, we must rise to meet it. Are you ready to rumble?
Hell yes!
Is there anything I can do for you? I want to help.
We gotta see more Sid too before the release date. I look forward to a frickin' demo as well. Can't wait to play a demo.
Look at me, Barrett. You think I want Marlene to see what her father's become?
Barrett's side story. Here it is.
When she wakes up, a scary man is gonna kill her.
And then it cuts to the theme song.
I won't say that it was fate.
Lauren Allred, that's the name of her. That's why I had to play this video. It was gonna eat away at me.
But if not, what could it be that drew you towards me?
Love this song.
Could it be chance till the day that we meet again?
Can't wait for the gold saucer.
I wish I could
That's what Final Fantasy XVI was missing, a gold saucer.
know that you're
And here we go, right here.
promises to keep. We won't ever meet.
Oh man. So good. But yeah, so why do we see this here? The fact that everyone is also theorizing that if she dies in the other timeline, she's going to wake up in this one makes me question if that's just what the devs want us to think. So once again, I could agree with this theory if it's only Aerith. Aerith is this sort of tying link here, and this could have something to do with the portals that were made at the end of Remake. So it first starts off by Sephiroth cutting a portal through the Whispers and entering a place called the Singularity. So what exactly is he cutting a portal into, and what does Aerith purifying it actually do? It could be that in purifying it, Aerith does build some kind of bridge or connection between the two worlds. And then, of course, in one of the trailers, I can't remember which one it was, Sephiroth says something along the lines of when worlds collide or when worlds merge. So Sephiroth was aware that what he was doing was creating this alternate reality or opening a gateway to an alternate world or something along that lines. A world in which we know that Zack survives, and of course at the beginning of this trailer, which also is a huge moment, Zack is saying, "I'm feeling every single bullet," and then of course in the Japanese version it says, Zack says, "It was a windy day," or "It was really windy that day." I know I think the Japanese version really gives away more information, but I still love the line, "I'm feeling every single bullet," as all these bullets are whizzing by him, and his one just goes right for his head. So we can infer that between the two languages, that the Whispers either purposefully or accidentally intervene in some way. Purposefully if they are in control themselves, and perhaps accidentally if it is Sephiroth who is willing it. Because we do know that Sephiroth is in fact in control of the Whispers at this point. So yeah, once again, I don't see there being any other connection between the worlds aside from if it's just Aerith. And of course Aerith transferring over to the Terrierverse could be some kind of bridge into getting Zack, into helping Zack understand that that giant rift that he's seeing in the sky could be a portal into the main parties or our universe, the Beagleverse. But other than that, it being a land of death, I just don't agree with it. So, and it appears that the singularity that was created at the end of Remake is also what causes the giant tornadoes, which cause the other members of Avalanche to die, and a few other things that just set this world apart and cause it to veer off course with having Zack alive and other people dead and that kind of thing. A lot of people are theorizing that, if we could figure out what Zack's dimension is exactly, then we can get a lot of answers. And the devs have been stated as saying that, the end of Rebirth is going to leave us with more questions. We're not going to get all of our questions answered until the third game. So while some questions might get answered, more are going to be raised by the end of Rebirth. I'll go ahead and switch back so you guys can see something more than just frozen Zack and Aerith, although some of you might like that. Wolf Tales, yeah, let's go. Hey, and welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, so that's the biggest theory going on right now. And of course, there's also the fact that with Sephiroth mentioning something about these worlds colliding, and then the cover art being Sephiroth standing in between Cloud and Zack in two separate universes, we know that Sephiroth needs this for something. But how exactly he needs it to manifest, or how exactly he needs it to go, we're not exactly sure yet. And of course people are theorizing that it has something to do with the Cloud sitting in the chair, who is also unconscious. This Cloud is going to just develop differently from the Cloud that we play as, because in the OG, Cloud heals or he's able to repair his own mind with his Genova cells in two different ways. Number one, it's by absorbing Zack's memories after he dies, and then number two, it's meeting Tifa at the train station inside Migdyar. It's those two instances that sort of repair Cloud's mind, in that he's definitely not himself, but he's functioning and he seems like someone who Cloud could be. So this Cloud who is sitting in that chair behind Zack when they're talking, when he's talking to Marlene, I'll throw that back up. I'll just throw that back up. I'll switch back over to the scene. But yeah, this Cloud sitting right here is still sick because he couldn't absorb Zack's memories, although the fact that he was able to read Tifa's memories does tell us that he can read the minds of living people, but it could be because Zack is alive and that Zack is so resistant to Genova cells, which is the reason why he's unable to connect with Zack as is. And with Tifa being dead, or supposedly dead, we'll get into that kind of theory later on here, we can assume that this version of Cloud that we're seeing in the chair is also not going to be able to repair his mind that way. So is it possible that when Aerith comes through, Aerith is able to heal him? A lot of people are theorizing that he's going to end up being an evil Cloud, or one of the Clouds is going to end up going full-on evil. I don't necessarily fall in line with that one either, and that's another thing that we're going to talk about here once we're done with this main one. So there are a few different things that could happen here. A lot of people are taking Marlene's words here as meaning that when Aerith wakes up in this world, a scary man is going to kill her. And who could that scary man be? It could actually be the guy sitting in the chair in the background. It could be some weird Sephiroth manipulation that wakes him up and causes him to lunge after her. Or it could be Sephiroth himself. I don't think it's going to be Genesis. There's absolutely a possibility that Genesis could appear somewhere, but I don't think it would be at this point. But then there's also another route that this could go. And it could be that when Aerith wakes up in this world, or if she wakes up, she sees that Cloud is over there on the chair and she's the one who heals him. But we've also seen the grainy footage of the robed figures, the failed soldier experiments. And in that trailer, there's clearly Cloud dressed up in this robe. And he's saying reunion. So, is this the one who ends up in the robe? I think most signs point to yes. Based on what we've seen. So that is that. And then we'll go back into the Tifa being dead theory as well. So a lot of people theorized that in this version of the game, Sephiroth, having knowledge from the future, is going to attempt to kill Tifa instead. And we've already got at least one dead Tifa in Zack's world, so is that what Sephiroth was going for? Is that mission accomplished already? We certainly didn't theorize that it was going to be in this way. We theorized that maybe Tifa would be the one to die instead of Aerith, or at least, the other theory crafters out there. It's very possible that they were correct and that, yeah, there is a dimension where Tifa is dead, but is it also possible that Sephiroth is going to try and kill her in the Beagleverse, where we're going to spend, most of the gameplay? We also have that line from the original trailer. I shouldn't say the original trailer, but from the first trailer we got back in 2023. Let me see which one it is. Yes, this one. I'll switch over to the trailers again. Go big. There we go. We're just going to watch the last half of it, or at least the last portion. It's also where we first learned about the synergy abilities.
Keep away from me!
They say she's a monster.
Ugh.
That she can peer inside you, into the very depths of your soul. that she can become those you hate, those you fear, those you love.
Yep, there it is, Cloud.
You murdered my dad.
I can't wait to see the flashback.
You know that I killed her. So, who is she?
Oh man, so good. Gonna pause it right there. Oh, I can't wait to see this rendition of the flashback. It's gonna be so good, guys. We already hear Sephiroth saying, you know, did you know that I killed her? So who was she? And it could be this manipulation by future Sephiroth, but part of me wonders if it's almost like this questioning on Sephiroth's point of view as well, because Sephiroth, the version of Sephiroth that is in the original game, who comes back, you know, towards the end of the game, would honestly have believed that he did kill her, because the last thing he remembers is he put a giant gash in her, and then she fell down some stairs, and that was it. Assume she's dead. Dark Cloud 612, welcome to the chat. The little girl Betty does refer to Cloud as a scary man who scared her cats. that is a connection there. Yeah, she's like, they said a scary man was chasing them. That's very true. So Cloud is definitely a scary guy to Marlene as well when they first meet. But yeah, so this, once again, that line right there, did you know that I killed her, so who is she? Absolutely could be Sephiroth manipulating Cloud. Or it could just be Sephiroth being like, dude, I killed her. She's an imposter. I remember killing her. So it could just be the fact that he doesn't know that she survived. But it does seem more cool if it's the manipulation of Cloud. So in the Beagleverse, it could appear that Sephiroth is definitely attempting to get into Cloud's head more and attempting to reduce his trust in his teammates. I think there's going to be a lot of I think that's partially what is fact and what is fiction stands for. Is there's going to be a lot of manipulation here. There's going to be a lot of lies being told, and if you've played the OG, you know some of the huge lies that are told that the players have no reason not to believe. The whole unreliable narrator type situation. So this could be another situation of, you know, hey, what does, you know, from Cloud's point of views, what is truth and what is fiction? From Cloud's point of view, he starts to question it himself. We saw in the theme song trailer, I think it was the theme song trailer, or maybe it was the release date trailer, you know, he knows things that he shouldn't know and can't remember things that everyone else does. So there is definitely this more aware Cloud of his own situation. But let me know what you guys think. And of course, if we start talking about some stuff here and we don't get into some theories, I definitely didn't remember all the theories, so feel free to chime in and say, hey, do you remember this theory, or something like that. Let's switch back. Switch back to some B-roll footage of Remake. I don't have any kind of B-roll, any good B-rolls set up for Rebirth yet. I wish I had. So let's talk about the next theory that I had written down was the Evil Cloud theory. Once again, this is one that I don't get behind, because I don't see the devs making either of these versions of Cloud go full-on evil, although I could see the alternate reality version going partial evil. But this theory goes so far as to say that Cloud will give in to the evil into Sephiroth, and he does in the OG, but not to the extent that the party has to ever fight him. He gives in, almost kills Aerith. He gives the black materia over to Sephiroth. He, not only does it once, but then at the Northern Crater, Red 13 is tricked into giving the black materia to him, and then he in turn gives the black materia to the real Sephiroth. So there's definitely room in this rebirth to have a Cloud who goes even further, but then this theory states that, he is going to be the one to kill Aerith, and that he's going to be the final boss as well, or one of the final bosses. I don't see him being the final boss. I know it can make sense in the Evil Cloud theory, but no part of me ever sees Cloud being strong enough to be a final boss, even though by the end of the game, yeah, you're strong enough to take on a final boss, but I can't see a world, even under the control of Jenova, even under the control of Sephiroth, where Cloud's it. Like, he's the end of Rebirth. We have to fight him, end up killing one of him, or throwing him into the live stream, which would then go on into, the rest of the story. I think it'd be too soon for him to go in the live stream, though. And of course, that theory also counted on the party making it to the Northern Crater and to Sephiroth, so we know that's not going to happen. And that doesn't mean that the Evil Cloud couldn't happen, but once again, I don't think the devs are going to do that. And I think that the party would have a huge trust issue with Cloud moving on into the third game. Once again, yeah, it would make for some good conflict, but I think there's already enough conflict in this that they're going to create as well. If Cloud kills Aerith, there is no way to redeem him. Yeah, Danny, totally agree. And while I get that we have two Clouds, and we have seen that footage of Clone Cloud in the robes chanting reunion heading up to the Northern Crater, I don't even see that one being the one to kill him, or to kill Aerith. And then, regardless of whether he kills Aerith or not, I don't see him being a final boss. I feel like that would almost be a cop-out. I don't want it to be Sephiroth again. I don't think anybody does. Let me know in the comment, too. Like, aside from Sephiroth or Cloud, what are you hoping that we get as the final boss? Are you hoping that it's something that we can theorize, or are you hoping that it's just something that we haven't been able to guess? Like, events are going to happen in Rebirth, story elements are going to happen in Rebirth that we couldn't possibly comprehend based on the knowledge that we have right now, and the final boss is going to come from that. I think it would be cool if one of the final bosses was a weapon, maybe diamond weapon or something. That was also contingent upon them getting to the Northern Crater, but we've also seen footage of a weapon in the trailers that we've seen from 2023 as well. So they did mention that weapons were going to be activated early. And they also mentioned like these giant kaiju battles. Like they were like, hey, what if you could control a weapon kind of like one of the dominants in Final Fantasy 16? And I was just kind of like, that was pretty good. In terms of 16, my review is out on 16, and I have completed my playthrough. The dominant battles were pretty freaking awesome. They were gargantuan. So, but anyway, yeah. So that's the theory with Evil Cloud. Brandon Tucker, hey, welcome back, man. It's good to have you in the stream. Depending on how off the rails final game goes, maybe we will get final form of Sephiroth from OG. Has final boss early for Rebirth. Okay. Still don't know how I feel about that, because that's still Sephiroth, but I get what you're saying, though. Like, it's the final version of him, and I wonder... I'm not sure how that would work, since for... we've got the version of Sephiroth who is manipulating Cloud, and who the party has seen now, but we've also got the version of Sephiroth, like, Sephiroth's physical body that is still in the Northern Crater. So I don't know, man. That's really tough to say, and it would have... Rebirth would definitely have to go way off track there at the end for something like that to happen. Definitely. But thanks for that comment. I definitely appreciate it. There's also the theory that Sephiroth won't kill Aerith, and once again, it's because this Sephiroth with future knowledge, or this Sephiroth from the future, understands that it is killing Aerith and allowing her to become one with the life stream that actually causes him to fail in the end. So I posited it in one of the videos, like imagine, it comes down to that moment where she's praying in the Northern Crater. I'll switch back to that real quick. I think we've all seen it so much now. Like, man, what if it comes down to that moment? We know it's going to be there. We see it right here. And what if Sephiroth doesn't come down from the ceiling? The camera still starts to pan up here, and a lot of people have noted that. Like, hey, did you see the camera tilt up? And it's like, yeah, the camera tilted up, just like in the OG. You know what happens after that. So what if that is the original Sephiroth, and then we've got, once again, the Sephiroth from the future comes in and deflects him? And what if Aerith, having this knowledge from the future, understanding that this is the way events are supposed to go, what if she just is standing there, just sort of struck with fear, having expected to die at that moment, and she's surviving, and this fight ensues around her? That's one of 1,000 possibilities that could happen. And once again, it could be Cloud who has to be stopped from killing her, and it could be like this Sephiroth over on the side manipulating Cloud. Let's see if we can sort of see one of the whispers in the background. No, go back. Get to a point where one of the whispers is in the background. I don't know. There you go. You see it right there. So we see the whispers. We know Sephiroth from the future, the one who is in control of the whispers right now, is there. And it is interesting that other little PlayStation or Square Enix trailer that came out that had a whole bunch of different games in it. We did get a new scene, like a new short scene where Cloud has his Buster Sword raised and there are whispers flying around in the background. Kind of hard to tell where exactly they are, so if you've got your theories on when in the game that's going to happen, by all means let me know. But yeah, so the devs have also talked about how, in the original game, they treated death as something that is unexpected, that happens suddenly, and all of a sudden, your friend is alive and now they're dead. And it absolutely was felt in the original. And they want us to feel that same way in this new trilogy. So to kill her off right here in the exact same way, I don't know that it would create that same feeling. Having her survive at this point could honestly fill us with a different sense of dread of, oh no, she didn't die here. My God, when is she going to die? When is it going to happen? What's going to change? And it's going to be, once again, a moment that we don't expect. And she's standing there alive as can be, and then the next moment she's dead. It could be in the third game. I don't know. But once again, they said death is sudden, and we wanted to make sure that we had that in the new trilogy. I don't know if they specifically said Rebirth, but they still wanted to show death as being something like that, and it absolutely can be. It's one of those things where, yeah, it happens in real life just like that. And in video games, when the people get this long speech as they're dying in the other person's arms, that's the kind of thing that doesn't happen. You don't get to have your final words in real life. You don't get to have that conversation with someone that you cared about in real life. So there's that one. Sephiroth, the good guy theory. I don't think anybody. I'm not going to say anybody. I don't think most people really want the good guy Sephiroth theory to come through, where this version of him from the future actually ends up being good and decides to help the party overthrow the old Sephiroth and that kind of thing. So, but it was a theory that was put out there. Hey, what if Sephiroth turns good? I don't think that'll happen, and this is based on the lore that, when Cloud throws Sephiroth into the live stream, first time Sephiroth is ever killed, Sephiroth has to shed the memories, all the good memories, basically, from his mind in order to stay whole in the live stream. And a Sephiroth that is like that, I don't believe can be redeemed and can become good again. But that's that. So, if you guys have any thoughts on the good guy Sephiroth theory, let me know in the chat. Moving on to Genesis Returns. I'm totally okay with Genesis returning, because so far from what they've shown us from bits and pieces of Dirge and Crisis Core that they've inserted into Remake, it seems that they're doing right by the expanded universe of Final Fantasy VII. They've already given us, Zack back. They've shown the white feather in the original teaser, and so we can assume that the white feather represents Angeal. There's also the possibility that the white feather represents Aerith. And then, of course, we have Sephiroth. So there's the possibility that we have Angeal, we've got Zack, we've got Sephiroth. Genesis could make an appearance somehow, some way. So we know that Minerva, who is also sort of this being of the planet, this weapon of the planet, takes Genesis and does something with him. And then there's this scene in Dirge of Cerberus where he shows back up and is like, hey, I've got more work for you to do. But what could cause Genesis to reappear in Rebirth? You got me, but then again, the weapons could activate early, so there's this possibility that something threatens the planet in a different way that makes them feel that, okay, yeah, this is the time to make Genesis return. Could he be a final boss? Possibly. I would rather it honestly be him than Sephiroth. What would the motivation be? That I don't know. I feel like the planet would want, if anything, Genesis to fight Sephiroth, and based on some of their final interactions, I would think that Genesis would also hate Sephiroth as well. So, yeah, that one I don't have too much else to say, aside from if Genesis reappears in Rebirth, I accept that and I understand it. We did talk about the weapons activating early once again, so the devs have suggested that we may see some weapons appear early, which means that the planet feels that it is being threatened early. So is this a sign that Sephiroth awakens early somehow, like the body that's in the northern crater awakens early? Because in the original time, summoning Meteor, is what causes the weapons to appear. Cloud hands over the black materia to Sephiroth. Sephiroth summons the the meteor and is completely arisen, from his entombment at the northern crater. And so that is what causes the weapons to appear in the OG. So it's got to be something big like that to make the weapons want to start appearing in Rebirth. And of course, knowledge that there is this alternate universe could have something to do with that. Of course, these weapons need some kind of goal. So are these weapons perhaps guarding rifts in between those universes? Like if anything tries to cross, the weapons are like, nope, you gotta stay over here, and nope, you gotta stay over there. I could see that being a possibility. Almost like, what is it called, Pacific Rim, where these monsters are coming out of the rift. So something like that. But then there's also the possibility that this Sephiroth that is, from the future, does something in this timeline which also causes, these weapons to have to appear and attempt to do something. And then us getting control of one of the weapons, I don't know if we'll get to do that in Rebirth. I think it would be pretty badass. But then at the same time, I could definitely see this in Part 3. I could see, if we do get control of one of the weapons, that this is going to be just like a baby step going towards the third game, which I really hope they have a ton to do with the weapons. That's going to be a huge part of Part 3, is having to deal with the weapons, because once again, the devs have confirmed that yes, we are still going to hit these beats that are done in the original game. So at some point, Diamond Weapon's going to go after Midgar. At some point, we might be flying the High Wind and we encounter another weapon. Maybe the Ruby weapon actually tries to destroy Gold Saucer instead of it just being around in the desert just aimlessly. Maybe it tries to destroy Gold Saucer, and perhaps the Emerald weapon underwater attempts to do something as well, whether it be attacking Junon or attacking Costa del Sol for some reason. I don't know, because we did have one attack Junon, and of course was destroyed by the cannon. So could there be another attempt at attacking it? Let me know what you guys think on that one, and I'll start to move on to the next one. This is a smaller theory, in that it is the information, the propaganda, so to speak, that we see at the beginning. And I'll switch back over to a trailer again. The propaganda stuff that we see here is actually, they're just unconscious, they're not dead.
The world's ending. At least, that's what everyone's saying.
Ah, he sees the rift.
I don't like it.
Ready to fire.
Oh, it was the other trailer. But either way, this one has cool shots in it too. Let me skip to the other trailer. Yes, this one.
Still here at the scene of this terrible disaster, caused by a massive tornado which swept through sectors 0, 1,
Yeah, so the
and
theory
2.
here is they're just unconscious. They're not actually dead.
The expressway. Search and rescue operations are already in progress.
Let me know what you guys think about this one as well. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I think what we're seeing here is that they are just dead. but there are theories out there that they are actually captured and alive, and that this is just Shinra propaganda saying that they're dead, like on that poster with all the X's on it. Yeah, it could be, because once again we see Aerith being put into one of these helicopters, and then we see Aerith with Zack, so there is some truth to this theory that maybe Tifa, Barrett, and Red 13 are also alive, in which case that would also just kind of disprove that whole land of the dead theory, which is where Zack is. But that I don't have too much to go on that one either. If we had people alive in both timelines, I think that's going to create a really complicated situation right there. But that also creates a situation in which we could see these characters die multiple times. You know, if there's two Tifas, guaranteed for one of them to die. If there's two Barretts, guaranteed we can kill one of them off without killing them off, so to speak. So let me know if you guys think this is Shinra propaganda, or if the other members of Avalanche are dead. We're getting towards the end here, so everybody who's in chat, first off, thank you guys for being here. It's really, I definitely appreciate everybody who is here watching me live, and I'll leave it open as I'm talking about these last couple of things to other theories that maybe I haven't talked about in this video, and feel free to mention theories, and I'll let you know, oh yeah, we covered that earlier and this is what we talked about, kind of thing. So these last two theories really aren't going to take too long to talk about, but it's Marlene is an ancient, which I think would be really cool, because once again, we know who her father is, but we've never heard about her mother. And I don't think Dyne is an ancient either, but from the information, or from the scene that we see of Aerith hugging Marlene and her crying, you know, this is right before the plate fall in Sector 7 in 7th Heaven, and then Aerith somehow transfers knowledge to her. What she transfers, we don't know, but afterwards it calms her down. And then Marlene also is interpreting this information as well, because we see a couple times that she takes that information that she has, like when she's talking to Barrett, and she's like, you know, like Barrett can clearly see that something's wrong with her, and Marlene is like, nothing, you should go help her. Marlene is thinking about this information that Aerith gave her. And then in the trailer we see her telling Zack, like, hey, look, I've got some information that you need to know. And we can also infer that this is information that Aerith also transferred over to her. Brandon Tucker, doubt it is propaganda, seems like dead or unconscious in Zack universe. Yeah, I don't think it's propaganda either. He also says, wonder if you excuse me, wonder if you have to rescue the unconscious Aerith shown here as Zack from Shinra Building. That is another question that I have. We've yet to see any actual gameplay footage of Zack. We've seen story element footage, but we have yet to see Zack with a UI surrounding the screen, or Zack in combat, or anything that suggests that we actually get to control him. So, but that is also another question too, is how does Aerith go from being unconscious in a Shinra helicopter to being unconscious in her house? Is it that the Turks just deliver her to the house, like, hey, your daughter's unconscious, so here you go? Or does Zack have to rescue her in some way? How does he find out that she's up there? I could see Elmira's telling him, like, oh yeah, Shinra took my daughter and these guys went to go rescue her, but I haven't heard back from them, so maybe you should go too. Anything to get If that was my daughter, I'd be like, yeah, anything to get her back. I'll send this ex-boyfriend of hers up there. But yeah, so Marlene, there's the possibility that Marlene is simply just taking the information that Aerith gave her, because we do see a couple times in Remake Aerith passing on information in this way. Really notably is when she does that with Red 13 as well. And Red 13 admits later, he's like, hey, when Aerith touched me, I gained this knowledge of the Whispers. So it could be that when Aerith touched Marlene, Marlene gained this knowledge of Aerith being skewered in the Forgotten Capital. But then again, it could also mean that Marlene has some kind of power of the Ancients. It's also kind of suggested in the OG at the very end, where she's sitting in calm and she senses something and she goes to the window and she sees the life stream flowing towards them. And you know, it could just be one of those things where it's just directorial, like, we should have Marlene in calm and she should go to the window and peer out. That would be a cool shot. Or it could be that they were like, oh yeah, Marlene was an ancient from the beginning. We just never, mentioned it in the original game because we had to scrap that storyline. Game was getting too big. And then finally, and I think this is a really loose one, and I think most people don't agree with this. I think this is more of a wouldn't it be cool if, but, oh wait, Brandon's got another one. Oh no, never mind. I'm sorry, that was the one we already read, Brandon. So the two discs are, disc 1 is Cloud's playthrough and disc 2 is Zack's playthrough. I think we can already scrap that, and we know that the first disc is just going to be a data disc that gets loaded onto the PlayStation 5, and then the second disc is going to be your play disc. But once again, to those of you in the chat who are watching, let me know if there are any other theories or any just cool things to talk about that we haven't talked about so far, and I'll just give you some updates on what I'm doing. I have begun my Final Fantasy II playthrough again. So I had stopped playing Final Fantasy II in order to play 16. And so now I've started playing that again. The most recent one that I uploaded was actually my last playthrough from like 6 months ago before I started playing Final Fantasy 16. I've worked on 2 separate recordings since then, so soon, sometime this week, I will start uploading Final Fantasy II playthroughs again. Fingers crossed, I will complete that playthrough before Rebirth comes out. Because if I don't, it's going to be like another 6 months before I get back to it. And I desperately want to finish 2. And I am enjoying it. And the reason I'm playing 2 right now is because it's regarded as one of the worst numbered Final Fantasies. And so far, I get that from a mechanics standpoint, the way in which you level up. But other than that, like everything that I've experienced storyline-wise and world-building-wise is honestly better than the original Final Fantasy. I mean, of course, it was the second one they came out with. They learned things from the original, and they made improvements, in at least in terms of story and character. So, guys, thank you for watching. We've been at this for nearly an hour, and I definitely appreciate everybody who participated in the chat. I definitely appreciate anybody who comments below, and I thank everybody who has subscribed to the FailroadExpress. And if you've enjoyed hanging out with me for this past hour, please drop a like, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and check out more stuff on the FailroadExpress, including more Final Fantasy VII content to come, and our other live streams that we do. We've been playing Foxhole, and we're going to be playing Barrow Trauma again. So I hope you guys will check us out next time. Later.